After weeks of speculation, we finally have confirmation as to what the Atlanta Hawks offered for Pascal Siakam. So, should the Raptors have taken this deal, and are they really in any position to refuse a trade right now? Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Amateur Hour Sports. This is the YouTube channel that is dedicated to Toronto Raptors content and videos just like this, as well as live streams and shorts. So, for all that great Raptors content, please make sure you are subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports. Help us on the road to 16,000 subscribers, and be sure to drop a like as well to show your support to the channel. But finally, we have the official confirmation from Shams Charania of The Athletic as to exactly what the Atlanta Hawks offered the Toronto Raptors in exchange for Pascal Siakam. We know all about the rumors surrounding Pascal Siakam at the moment. The Raptors are not in a very good position right now. After finishing 41-41 this season, missing out in the playoffs, they were in a real tough spot in terms of trying to either retool their team this offseason or try and make a push this season. It really felt as though the management wanted to make that push this season, but part of the plans to do that derailed when starting point guard Fred VanVleet left the team in free agency to join the Houston Rockets. Just a number of players now have left the Raptors post-championship for absolutely nothing, so it's become very difficult for the Raptors to build up this team, build up this roster, and maybe retooling is the best course of action, especially with the impending free agencies of Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, and of course, the player listed in this video, Pascal Siakam. The Raptors don't want to lose yet another player completely for free, and there are very much some worries surrounding Pascal Siakam right now because the player will not sign an extension with the Raptors in the offseason, and it is incredibly difficult to trade him. Pascal Siakam right now is eligible for a 4-year, $192 million extension. That would be on top of the $37.9 million he's owed this season. But if Siakam makes All-NBA this season, then he would be eligible for a 5-year Supermax contract, and we just saw how much Jaylen Brown got of his Supermax deal. So that is a whole lot more money if Pascal Siakam makes All-NBA, and there is no reason for Pascal Siakam to not at least try and make All-NBA and earn that Supermax contract. The problem is Pascal Siakam is only eligible for the Supermax contract if he remains with the Raptors. Getting traded would take away any eligibility for a Supermax contract, even if he does make All-NBA next season. So Siakam wants to stay put in Toronto, wants to try and earn that Supermax contract. So no contract is going to be signed extension-wide with the Raptors this summer, and Siakam does not want to get traded. Yet still, there are teams like the Atlanta Hawks who have some interest in Siakam because they feel as though, hey, let's make a real push this season. They made that big trade for DeJounte Murray last summer. They already have Trae Young in the team. There might start to be some frustrations brewing in Trae Young's camp as to the roster construction around him in Atlanta. Siakam would be an excellent piece to put with those players. And again, we now have the confirmation of what they did offer for Pascal Siakam. We speculated for a while as to what it could be, but we were mostly on track with the base of the trade and the projections and in the reports that we had on this channel here. The Atlanta Hawks offered DeAndre Hunter along with former first-round pick AJ Griffin along with draft compensation to make this deal happen. Now, it kind of frustrates me when it's just listed as draft compensation. Is that 1 first-round pick? Is that 2 first-round picks? Is that no first-round picks? I think we can safely say it's at least 1 first-round pick, but the meat in this trade is DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin. Now, DeAndre Hunter, as far as player, I really like DeAndre Hunter's game. I feel like he might clash a little bit personality-wise in terms of the on-court play compared to OG Anunoby. Not like personality, but the way they play on the court is very similar, but ultimately, I am a fan of DeAndre Hunter's game, and I'm a big fan of the contract that he's currently on, making just above $20 million a year for the next 4 years. Then you look at AJ Griffin, wasn't phenomenal in his rookie season. It's coming off of a pretty poor summer league, but has that first-round pick potential the Raptors can definitely work with and could definitely use on their bench. So, should the Raptors have taken this deal? Was this trade adequate enough for the Raptors to take on for the services of Pascal Siakam, who has made an All-NBA team twice, and he has been an All-Star twice, and arguments he could have made All-NBA in the most recent season as well. Pascal Siakam is worth quite a bit to the Raptors, even with the possibility of him walking away in free agency, and even with him making it more difficult to get traded because of his comments about not wanting to sign an extension with anywhere that he goes, once again because he wants to stay put in Toronto. I feel like for this trade in particular, as far as what Pascal Siakam is worth to the Raptors, the value that you are going to get out of the possibility of Siakam signing that extension next summer, because I feel like Siakam wants to stay here, and I feel like an extension can happen. The possibility of Siakam signing an extension in Toronto outweighs the expected value that is generated from this specific trade. In reality, the Atlanta Hawks can do better than this. Right now, the problem is negotiations are on hold, and it doesn't appear as though there's any sort of discussions going on with other teams. Atlanta seemed pretty content to go into the season with the roster the way it is currently constructed, and the Raptors, well, we just don't know exactly what the Raptors want to do. They have made it unclear for a number of years what the direction of this team is. Is it winning? Is it retooling? Is it sticking in the middle, doing neither? That's pretty much the direction showing. No direction is really where the Raptors have been for the last few years, and that is seemingly is where they want to remain. So with all the complications going on with the Raptors, like I said in the intro, are they in any position to refuse a trade just like this? Because AJ Griffin's a fine prospect to have on your team. DeAndre Hunter's a great player to have on your team long term. He's just that complimentary player that a lot of teams could definitely use and a lot of teams would definitely want on their team. But to me, for the Raptors to make this trade, you really have to get 3 of these 4 players. And included in those 3 players are DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin. But also included in that is Onyeka Okongwu and Kobe Buffkin. Kobe Buffkin, after signing his rookie deal with the Atlanta Hawks, is now trade eligible as of August 2nd, so he can be included in deals. I'd be a little bit curious if under what Shams labeled as draft compensation, Kobe Buffkin, recent first-round pick, I wonder if he could possibly be included in that draft compensation. I'm not quite sure, but the Raptors, they need to get a little bit better out of this. That's the problem for me here. I just feel a little bit sour looking at this deal at the moment saying, yeah, like, you know, we have to take what we can get here for Pascal Siakam, but that's just the thing. Are the Raptors in any sort of position where they can refuse this? Because maybe we don't know exactly what the stage of the negotiation is. Is this Atlanta's ultimatum, either take it or leave it with this trade? Is there any possible wiggle room for this trade? Because if this is the max Atlanta are going to be willing to offer, I don't imagine any other team is going to come with anything particularly better for the Toronto Raptors to take on. And this might be the max that you can get out of Pascal Siakam's value. Because if you go into this season, the Raptors struggle once again, and you're at the trade deadline, and the questions arise once again for this team. Is it time to sell at the deadline, or is it time to buy at the deadline? The big question is, it's time to sell. The big statement is, it's time to sell the trade deadline. Well, if you're all of a sudden a selling team, and you have Pascal Siakam on an expiring contract with far less time in his contract in February than you do now, his value is likely going to be less significant than it is right now with this DeAndre Hunter and AJ Griffin trade. So that is the sort of problem and predicament that the Toronto Raptors are in. And it almost feels as though for Masai Ujiri, it's a lose-lose situation. Either you trade him right now for that trade from the Atlanta Hawks, and you get less value than you should out of a player of Pascal Siakam's caliber, who can average an efficient 24 points, can lead a team, 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. Like, you really should be getting a higher significance out of the trade than you are out of this proposed trade from the Atlanta Hawks. But also on the other scenario is the possibility of losing Pascal Siakam for free. So either you take this, take the trade at a lower value than you should, which is a loss, or you go into the season running the risk of Pascal Siakam leaving completely for free, which would also be a losing scenario. So it's almost unfair to, you know, put any sort of blame on Masai Ujiri right now because it is a lose-lose scenario, but that's just the thing. How did we get into this scenario? It's Masai Ujiri's fault. It's the consistent losing of assets, not having an understanding of where this team is going, so it's hard to commit in any sort of direction with these players in these trades, and for players to commit to this team long-term, because if Masai Ujiri doesn't know what direction this team is heading, how the hell can the players be confident in the direction the Toronto Raptors are heading? And how can they be confident in investing their long-term future with this team? This is the position that Masai Ujiri has put this team in, and now it's up to him to clean up the mess. What is likely going to happen out of this situation? We're going to stand pat. We're going to stay put. We're going to go into the season with the exact same team, and look, the Raptors underperformed last year, even with a downgrade in the point guard position, losing Fred VanVleet. I feel like the team still has the capability of winning more than 41 games, getting into a play-in tournament position, getting maybe even sneaking into a 6 seed, especially if Scotty Barnes takes a big jump this season, which we are very much hoping that he has the capabilities of doing. I believe this team can be moderately successful, but that moderate success is that really worth it for this upcoming season? Probably yes for this season, because you don't have a 2024 first round pick that you can reliably fall back on because of the top 6 protection that is on that pick going to the San Antonio Spurs. So the Raptors seemingly are at this stage where they are full steam ahead. They want to go and try to win games this season. Pascal Siakam is going to be a big part of that. And once again, it's a very difficult circumstance that we're in. So trying to clean up the mess that we're in is very difficult to do. But based on that trade, like I said earlier on in the video, I think the possibility of Siakam signing here and staying here outweighs that trade. If Okongwu or Bufkin are inserted into that deal and it's DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and one of those 2 players along with draft compensation, well, then that's a trade the Raptors simply are going to have to take to not run the risk of losing Siakam, and you can start the retooling process with that great crop of young players. Finally, we'll have a sense of direction with this team. Finally, we'll be able to commit to something long-term, because in the last few years, it's just been a cycle of frustration, wanting the team to commit and then having the team not do anything and leaving us still wondering what we're doing and not being happy with the on-court results. This could be the escape from that cycle. This could be the trade that does it, but unfortunately, it can't be done for this trade from the Atlanta Hawks. They just have to step up a little bit. But what do you think about this trade offer? Would you accept this trade offer from the Atlanta Hawks? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I personally wouldn't do it, but would love to hear your thoughts. Because that is the end of today's video. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more Raptors content just like this. And I'll see you again very soon for another video on Amateur Sports.